the President of the United States, chatting with A.C. Green, former Oregon State star. We're at half.
Welcome back to the ACC on ESPN. Moments away from the start of the second half between Oregon State and Maryland here at College Park. And yes, that is not a typo. The score is all tied at 38. When we left you, it was 41-38. Welcome back to College Park. Eamon McEnany along with Len Elmore and Andy Katz. And Len, you just received the clarification on that last second shot by Des Wells.
Well, they thought that the first shot that they saw was a little bit behind, like about a tenth of a second slow on the tape. But you got to go by what's on the clock. And you take a look, 0-0, the ball was still in his hand. And that's how it goes. It's the clock, 0-0, then it's the light, and then it's the buzzer.
All right, for more, let's check in with Andy Katz.
And this is exactly a new point of emphasis within the NCAA. It has to be indisputable evidence to overturn it. And in this case, they obviously, chose to go and overturn it because it was indisputable. Spoke with Carl Hess, as Len Elmore did as well. Carl Hess went up to Craig Robinson right before the start of the second half, told him about the change, and Craig just told me, look, right or wrong, they got the call right. Obviously, it benefits Oregon State, but he says, look, we got to keep them off the boards. We can't commit turnovers, and if they do that, he says they're going to win this game.
All right, so if you're just joining us, we went to the half thinking it was confirmed as a good three-pointer by Des Wells. They had a chance to review it some more, and they took the 3 points off the board. So we're all even at 38 after the turnover by Maryland.
And we don't have to scratch our heads anymore as to why.
Offensive foul on Clear, the whistle on Maryland's first possession. Now here's Barton. Nelson gets rejected by Faust, but draws the whistle. And when you're the team's leading scorer, all four other guys help you up off the floor.
And again, Roberto Nelson aggressive to the basket, forcing Nick Faust to put hands on him. And, what the habits that guys have developed over the years are very hard to break right now. They had been allowed, to kind of hand check slightly, even though hand checking was against the rules to begin with. But now you got to learn, if you have your hands out, you have your hands up. That's okay. But once you start reaching towards the ball hand or reaching towards your man, now you're about to make a mistake. So you got to get in the habit of keeping those hands out or keeping them up.
How much more emphasis does it put on your footwork? Because you have to sort of shuffle instead of be able to slow them up.
Well, that's the key right now. Not only does it put emphasis on footwork, but you have to give guys a little extra room now. And with some of these guys, all you got to do is give them a sliver of daylight.
Two more for Nelson. Wells kicks it out to Faust. Changes his mind. And he draws the whistle.
And again, another hand check. Once a guy makes an aggressive move to the basket, players have to adjust. The first instinct can no longer be get a hand on him or use an arm bar to kind of slow him down. A lot of guys used to use that arm bar below the waist, right around the thigh, to slow guys down.
And the interesting thing, as many predicted, although the rules or the emphasis is designed to open up the game, it seems that at some points it's been slowing down the game to be a marathon of whistles as everyone adjusts to the new emphasis. Now Smotrich with 16 on the shot clock. The fadeaway, short.
Big fella should never fade away. Here's a 5-inch height advantage over Victor Robbins. Take advantage.
And Nelson getting the screen from Grant, kicks it out to Barton for three. He hits.
It's good basketball right there. Penetrate, kick. Well, Nelson looked like he twisted an ankle a bit.
This is Oregon State's biggest lead. Scored the first 5 points of the half. Strong rebound by Collier. Barton up ahead to Nelson. He has a path to the hoop. He'll go to the line.
Maryland asleep on defense that time. You can't let Roberto Nelson get behind you. First of all, here he is. Nice job drawing the defenders. The close is too late. Nice jump shot there by Barton, but it was delivered by Nelson. We talked about Nelson being a high scorer. Came into this game averaging 30 points over the 2 games that he's played, but he's also averaged almost 5 assists per game. And this is a guy who not only knows how to score, but he makes plays.
So the call goes against Des Wells, who now has 3 fouls. Peters and Mitchell check in.
You know, this Oregon State team, Craig Robinson told me yesterday at practice, this is a team he believes that can certainly win and can get to the NCAA tournament. There's an awful lot of talent here. The question is kind of meshing it, being able to utilize those talents in a way that the chemistry works. And again, if they can hold the fort till Eric Moreland gets here, the guy who triggers their offense, gives them another big, triggers their defense, gives them another big body in there, they can be pretty surprising. Remember, last year, 5 of their 14 Pac-12 losses were by 4 points or less. And for the most part, everybody's back here.
Martin from Sweden hits off the glass. So a disjointed start here to the second half for Maryland, and Oregon State willing to take advantage, and Mark Turgeon has seen enough right now. Early timeout by the Terps. An 8-0 run to start the half by the Beavers. Charlie Barton, the junior from Sweden, hit a 3, and he drives to the hoop for a bucket. Oregon State up by 8. Oregon State received a break even before the second half started when Wells' 3 was ruled no good, and then they grabbed control of the game to start the half.
Well, they certainly have done a terrific job defensively, one area where they certainly needed to improve. You know, defense was a problem, ranked 162nd in their adjusted defensive ranking. But here, in transition, off the rebounds, off the steals, you know, this team really gets out and runs, and they've beaten Maryland back far too often for Mark Turgeon's liking.
Defense to offense, working for Oregon State. Mark Turgeon off the early timeout for Lehman in 3. In and out. Mitchell, though, misses as well. Look at the Wells.
That's Maryland's strength right there. Outstanding rebounding team. One of the best in the nation last year. And that was with Alex Lynn, but it doesn't seem as though they've lost the beat.
Let's check in with Andy Katz.
AC Green, the former Los Angeles Laker here, he has actually been an important part of the Oregon State basketball program over the last couple of years. He actually traveled with the Beavers on this trip to the White House, and he's been hanging around quite a bit. His probably fellow most famous Oregon State alum, Gary Payton's son, just actually signed with the Beavers, and Payton and AC Green were instrumental working with Craig Robinson in trying to get their new practice facility, which is now being used on campus for the men and women. There wasn't a lot of land to work with next to Gill Coliseum, but when I was there earlier in October, when we were out there to do stuff with Oregon and Oregon State, you can see Payton and Green's name on that building inside as contributors. So they're really trying to reach back to that golden era of Oregon State basketball.
Nothing like reaching back to those golden eras. And there's no question, you use the prominent alumni, guys who are willing to give back.
They are dominating things up now. The putback by Brandt creates a 4-point play and a 10-point lead. Wells draws the whistle and one.
And in breaking that 2-3, Maryland's got to do more of that if they can. Get the ball to that sweet spot and let a Des Wells make a decision. Take a look. Right there in the middle by himself now. Defenders are too far back to be able to have any impact except a foul because they're in the restricted area. And Des Wells did the right thing in taking it to the basket.
Next, the old school 3-point play. This is Reed up ahead to Nelson. Down to Collier. It's not Rich. Gets called for a foul and a bucket by Collier, and he flexes his muscles.
And rightly he should. Strong move to the basket. And perfect execution against the Maryland pressure. They did not put the ball on the floor, except to go to the basket hard. So from baseline to baseline, it was all about passing, and then a strong move to the basket. That's how you draw it up on the blackboard, and that's how you do it in the game.
Bronx now has 16. It's another 10-point lead. Craig Robinson's club. Gomez in for Grant. Martin picks up Peters in the backcourt, now drops off.
Maryland right now has got to continue to look to attack that zone inside out. Had some success in getting it in there just like that.
A rejection from behind. It looks like it was Reed flying in.
And that highlights the problem Shaquille Clear has had inside.
Collier can't put that one down, and Lehman comes up with it for Maryland.
Clear's got to be stronger with the ball. His teammates are playing with him, delivering it where he needs it.
This time Peters keeps it himself, and he goes right down Baltimore Avenue for the bucket.
And he got a strong screen there by Shaquille Clear, who probably inadvertently screened the defender as he was looking for the ball.
Collier spins.
Now take a look in the middle. Right here, Clear comes down. Now he wants the ball. He pivots, turns, but then he screens the man off, and that gives Peters a lane straight to the hole.
Peters, a highly touted recruit from the Baltimore area, ranked 52nd on the ESPN 100 in the class of 2013. Nelson, moving screen though. So the whistle goes against the Beavers. So the visitors from Corvallis. Some big-time fans, including AC Green. The emotions of being a fan, he's used to playing. It's tough being helpless in the stands. Welcome back to College Park. Maryland fans trying to fire up the Terps as the home team down by 8 to Oregon State. And this is a highlight of the road schedule for the Beavers, but not the only one. As check out the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic. They go up against Akron on December 22nd. You can check out that ball game on ESPNU. Those games in Hawaii. Pretty interesting bracket there for that tournament right before Christmas and on Christmas.
Pretty representative group out there. A lot of teams with the ability they put forward there to get their names in the mix for NCAA tournament berth, but just to go out there, man. Christmas time to go to Hawaii.
All right, Len, Mark Turgeon wasn't happy at the end of the half when he met with Andy Katz. He can't be happy right now. What do you think his message was during that timeout?
Well, his message was you're getting outplayed. You're getting out-hustled. You're getting bamboozled at times. But more importantly, this is about effort right now, and you can't get it all back at once. You know, there's no 8-point play. You've got to be able to score, and you've got to be able to put together some stops.
Certainly can't be happy that Oregon State shooting 60% from the field. And to tie up with the Oregon State ball.
Yes, sir. This one's going to be about effort for Maryland right now.
Maryland's been playing from behind all year. The Connecticut game, they were able to come back. Obviously, Abilene Christian, they shut the door on that one, but still playing catch-up once again in the third game of the season. Now Grant. Nelson, short, but he gets his own rebound. And goes right at Lehman and finishes.
And that can't happen. You force a 35-foot shot. You can't allow the shooter to get the rebound and then wind up with a layup. And this is what I mean by effort. A hustle Oregon State is laying down right now far outpaces that of Maryland. Maryland's going to have to get some kind of jump start from someone.
Looks like he's hoping to get it from Mitchell as he's back at the scorer's table. Nelson came in averaging 30, now at 21. Peters, turnover again. Martin looking to push. Shovels it ahead to Collier, who gets inside Lehman and hits.
And once again, Oregon State beating Maryland down. Collier started on one end of the baseline and beat everybody down to the other end. And I know Mark Turgeon is really upset about that.
Collier now has 18. Once again, Len, that transition game for the Beavers.
Yeah, you take a look right there. Collier actually, he was right around the free throw line, but he beats Lehman down. Lehman didn't know where the ball was, and then he didn't know where his man was.
Again, if you're just joining us, Craig Robinson, the brother of the First Lady, brother-in-law of the President, so the first family in attendance here. Not the first time the Beavers have come to the Beltway. And it's a pretty good luck charm.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you go to his house, you eat his food, you play his video games, and now you come out here, he's watching you play, you want to show off for him.
For him, not Nixon.
That's right.
There you see the first family. Coach Robinson's mother here as well. Now Wells. Lehman open for three. Pure.
And that's a good start. More than once in this short season thus far, as Jake Lehman's three been a catalyst for better play.
2 for 6 now behind the arc here tonight. And against Abilene Christian, Maryland was 1 for 12 from 3 before he hit 3 in almost 3.5 minutes, and a similar spurt happened against Connecticut. He had 9 points in an 11-0 run against the Huskies. That's way off by Mitchell. Collier runs it down and shovels it ahead to Nelson. And again, the effort plays.
On the 50-50 balls, it's Oregon State getting to him far more than Maryland. And that time Mitchell with a nice move. You got to locate where you are. You can't just toss it up there.
Stay with the Beavers here. Everyone dressed in red disagrees. And 21 to shoot.
My alma mater. Let's behave.
Collier gets loose underneath. He has 20. Nelson has 21. Peters looking to create, off balance and duns.
Well, Roddy Peters has the penetration down pat. Excellent with his length to get into the guts of that defense.
Martin lobs it to Brandt. Air ball, Lehman rebound.
Plenty of time for Maryland to get back in this game if they play smart.
Nice touch by Oregon State. And a reminder that men's college soccer championships continue tonight on ESPNU at 10:30. It's the match to decide the inaugural American Athletic Conference champion when South Florida takes on Connecticut. The American Athletic Men's College Soccer Championship tonight at 10:30 on ESPNU. Both matches also live on Watch ESPN.
It's got kind of a nice ring to it, the American.
The American.
And it's not the George Clooney movie.
Wells for three. Peters runs it down for the Terps. Attacking, rejected. And here's another tie-up, so it'll stay white ball. You know, Len, when you did the opener, you and John Saunders talked about Roddy Peters growing up right before your eyes for the coach, Mark Turgeon. I know it's only a couple games later, but what are you seeing out of him?
I see a lot more confidence in the young man, and probably because Mark Turgeon has exhibited the confidence and given him a little freer rein. Now, sure, he's going to make some mistakes. He has made some in this game. As you see, Nelson inadvertently with the contact. Nevertheless, it was a foul, but good sportsmanship. But Roddy Peters, as I said, he's got the penetration part down. You know, he's got the length and he's got the willingness to put the ball up, put his body on the line, going hard to the basket. Now, if he could penetrate, draw defenders, and find a way to get it to open shooters, for a higher percentage shot. All the more better for Maryland.
Smotrich gets a step on the baseline. What a move and run.
Again, talk about that experience, man. Evan Smotrich, nice move on the baseline, jump stop. And he just took two defenders, beat one off the dribble, and then stepped by and threw almost a double team right there. Went to the basket strong. And that's what you have to do, particularly in light of the new emphasis on hand checking and hands on the ball handler.
He now has 8 points, an opportunity to make it 9. First Maryland player since Alex Lender registered double figures in his first 2 games as a Terp.
You know, on that play, those two defenders played it well in the help, but it was a better offensive play.
Rebound for Collier. Nelson finds Collier. Strong. Looked like he got hammered, but no call. He finishes anyway.
You know, and that one certainly helped to be left-handed.
Mitchell quickly the other way. Good defense by Gomez.
But Devon Collier, again, blocks shots, he rebounds. Can you imagine Eric Moreland playing too? You know, these two bookends inside. You know, your point guard would be salivating having the ability to penetrate, draw defenders, and find guys who finish like that.
He has Oregon State's last 6 points. Wells with a 3-point play opportunity.
And it seems that every time Des Wells against his defense can get it in the paint, this time on his own, something good happens. And once again, it's in the middle of that zone.
He picked up his 3rd foul with 18:20 left to play. I was going to ask you, how long can you keep him out there with 3? And there's your answer why he hasn't gone to the bench yet.
Well, you know, he's a junior right now. He's got to know how to play when he's in foul trouble.
The crowd coming to life here. 14,776 fans, including the visitors from the White House.
And the one thing Mark Turgeon has to understand, you don't want Des Wells to get fatigued, because that's when you start committing fouls.
And a run down Nelson. Clear slows him up. Nice look. Good rejection by Smotrich. They say jump ball, so it'll stay Beaver. Maryland clawing its way back into this ball game. Barack Obama's brother-in-law with a 6-point lead on the road near the nation's capital. All right, back here in College Park, Michelle Obama's Brothers Ball Club with a 6-point lead on the home club. Let's check in with Andy Katz.
Well, Michelle and Craig are extremely close, and part of the reason, actually, we've done this story years ago, that Barack Obama actually ran for president was the influence that he got from his brother Craig. There was a lot of times that were dicey back in 2006 whether or not he was going to do it, and it was Craig's influence through Michelle to actually say, go ahead and run. And that was just part of a small percentage within the family to convince Michelle that he should do it.
Collier, another offensive rebound. Cook for 3, short. Raymond runs it down.
Well, if you're going to take threes in your offense, usually after an offensive rebound, you have an opportunity to line up the 3, step into it. So that wasn't necessarily a bad shot.
Beavers shows off the athleticism.
And once again, off the bounce, penetration into the heart of the defense.
He's in double figures with 10. Under 11 to play in regulation. Collier going right at Clear. Back to the left. I was about to ask you how he'd split the double, but you saw why he took an extra step. But Roddy Peters continues to grow up.
Yes, he does, and it's what happens when you go hard to the basket, as Hollis Cook just could not stay with him.
Maryland now on a 9-2 run. Lehman puts it on the floor.
Incidental contact, it seems, because there was contact. Look at Smartman.
Gets it right back, goes right at Grant. Faust gets fouled by Barton. Well, the Maryland fans and Coach Turgeon were looking for effort. They're getting it now.
And Oregon State getting a little careless with the ball. Maybe an eye on the clock as opposed to an eye on the game. That was just a bad pass on the miss. And you see Faust coming in strong. And to the most aggressive player after a period of time, that's where the calls are going to come.
And Maryland in the bonus. You know, it was interesting hearing Andy Katz talk about the new facilities as Faust can't hit. One of the first schools to offer Faust was Oregon State. Nelson misses. Gets up high. Coach Robinson knew that once Maryland was interested in Faust, they had no shot to get him to go all the way to Corvallis, but he thinks now with that facility, he could get an East Coast kid over maybe an ACC or a Big East power.
Well, he got one from Devon Collier.
Smotrich with the ball fake gets enough of a look to bury the three.
Actually, he got two, Devon Collier and Hollis Cook, both went to St. Anthony's in New Jersey, coached by Bob Hurley, senior.
So now Maryland within three. They double Collier quickly. Barton picks up his dribble. Collier off balance.
But that was the left. The lefties always seem to be off balance. But he turned right into the defender, and again, using that left hand, lefties have an advantage because defenders are so accustomed to guarding right-handers that when they put their hand up, it's usually trying to thwart a right-handed shot.
Lehman, quick release. Bullseye.
Jake Lehman once again trying to trigger not only the comeback, but trying to lead his team to a win.
Under 9 to play. Knocked away by Peters. Last touch by Maryland. Turgeon can't believe it. Barton did a good job of shielding Peters away from the ball.
You look at that reach that Peters had. It's hard to turn your back on a guy like that, thinking you're going to protect the ball.
So Peters gets a rest. Mitchell onto the floor. Faust, Wells, Lehman, and Smotrich. Nelson and Collier doing most of the damage for the Beavers still out there. Well, with Barton, Grant, and Robbins.
And that's the guy who's been suspiciously quiet.
Yes.
Angus Grant averaging 13 points a game. He really hasn't had many touches at all. 1 of 3 from the field.
Eight and a half left to play in regulation. Oregon State clinging to a 2-point lead. They've just committed their 15th turnover. Wells playing with a little bounce right now.
Forcing Oregon State to go man as they'll switch on the high screens.
Knocked away by Grant. Collier comes up with it. Collier has been a one-man wrecking crew for Oregon State here in the second half. A good look for Robbins, and he buries it. There's a timeout on the floor. Oregon State now up by 5. Nelson with his 7th assist, but on the other end, Smotrich with 3. And then Lehman. It's a 5-point game in College Park. Back here in College Park, 7:58 left to play in regulation. Oregon State up by 5. But you take a look at the box score, Len Elmore. Devon Collier's played 30 minutes. Roberto Nelson, 28. And can Barack Obama's brother-in-law afford to sit those two at any point?
Absolutely not. You know, you take a look at what they've been able to provide 2 double-digit scores among them, 45 of the 68 points. And with the media timeouts, you know, every 4 minutes now, you're going to get an opportunity to get a blow. And I think these guys are in good enough shape to play hard at 4 minutes stretch.
Raymond thought the ball was tipped, coming out of his hands, and it should be Maryland ball. At the half, we were tied at 38 after they took away the buzzer beater from Des Wells. A good review. Oregon State scored the first 8 points of the second half, and the Beavers have never trailed since here on the road. Durant thought about it. Instead, he lobs it to Collier.
Good hand. Bad pass.
Running out of real estate on the baseline.
With the attempt at a save.
So Wells, the runner, doesn't go. The putback off Mitchell, and he'll go to the line.
Well, first of all, when you talk about Nelson and Collier, the good part about it for Craig Robinson, both of them have just 2 fouls. So they can go out there and they can play with a little more reckless abandon. But when you talk about Charles Mitchell, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 6 rebounds now, 5 of them offensive. And that's when Maryland has been able to kind of gain an advantage to a certain extent, rebounding on the offensive glass. They've got 20 second chance points. Now the flip side is Maryland's turnovers have killed them because Oregon State has been extremely efficient in turning 13 turnovers into 27 points.
So Olaf Schaftenar checks in for Brandt.
I mean, that's about as efficient as you can get unless you're going to shoot threes every time you gain possession off of a turnover. Wow.
So that's a double whammy there for Maryland as Mitchell misses them both, and a foul call goes against the Terps, so we march down to the other end. Coach Turgeon's club 9 of 16 at the charity stripe. And guess who's going to the line? Collier. He has been a beast here in the second half.
6 of 10 from the line, and here's where you can put teams away if you can shoot the free throw.
Got the roll there. He now has 14 of Oregon State's last 23 points.
You know, by contrast, he did the Virginia Commonwealth game last Tuesday, and Virginia had every chance in the world to win that game from the free throw line, and just surprisingly, they couldn't shoot the ball in the ocean from the line, and ultimately wound up losing.
Good hustle by Wells. Peters keeps it himself. Fouls came up, but Robbins does not commit the travel. Under 7 to play in regulation. Oregon State with the ball up by 6. Barton gets a step, kicks it out to Schaftenar for 3.
Now, a lot of times I would chastise Barton for passing up a layup, which he had. He went baseline, and that basket was clear to kick it back outside for a lower percentage shot. But Oli Schaftenar just buries that 3. That's demoralizing.
First points of the night. Layman loses it, but the Maryland gets it back with 13 left on the clock, and Faust hits. Beavers going a little bit slower now with the ball. Under 6 to play in regulation and a 6-point lead.
Trying to shorten the game, but the way Maryland pressures, you know, that may take your momentum away that you may never gain back.
That's an offensive foul on Nelson. Craig Robinson can't believe it.
You always have to be careful. You have a lead, and then you want to back it out. You had to lead by being aggressive, and now you want to start shortening the game a little bit. That now takes away the aggressiveness. And Nelson right there picks up a foul on a drive because Maryland's defense was set. You got to continue to be aggressive, get the defense out of position, and then attack.
Peters, Wells, Faust, Mitchell, and Layman out there for the Terps. This is Wells. Down to Mitchell. Pulls his way closer to the hoop, but back to Peters, back to Mitchell for the bucket.
Remember I said Roddy Peters had that penetration thing down, and all he had to do was find open men. Another step towards being a consummate point guard, as Roddy Peters did an excellent job of drawing defenders. And watch the drive here, draws Collier to him, and then Mitchell is ready for that dish off. That's the other side of the equation. You get a guy to penetrate and is able to deliver. Bigs have to have their hands ready.
Wells goes more than 13 minutes between his third and fourth foul. He stays out there obviously now with just more than 5 to play. Barton from Sweden. His dad played college ball, though, at Kent State before playing and coaching in Europe. His mother played for Sweden's national team. He makes it a 6-point lead.
Sounds like a pretty deep gene pool.
Under 5 minutes in regulation. Maryland with the ball down by 6.
Yeah, if Maryland can get this thing down to one possession, you might be able to give Des Wells a minute or two to catch his breath. Because again, you get tired, you get fatigued in this game, you ultimately going to create fouls, and he can't afford another one.
Here he is driving, looking for contact, and he hits.
Still a 2-possession ball game. Maryland makes a stop here, and you come down and score again. Got an opportunity to rest the best player.
Nelson still looking for contact and he hits. You talk about a guy needing just a sliver.
My goodness. Body control.
They don't play for a while, so he can rest up if they play him the rest of the way here. Faust passes up to 3, penetrates, rejected. Mitchell there, though, for Maryland. No shot before the shot. Oregon State up by 6. Wells on one end, and on the other end, Nelson attacking the Terps and finishing. The Beavers up by 6.
Huge, guys.
Welcome back to College Park. The first family on hand. Their brother, brother-in-law, and uncle up by 6 here against Maryland. Let's check in with Andy Katz.
Well, on Wednesday, the Presidential Freedom Awards will be awarded, and one of the recipients is Dean Smith, the former Hall of Fame coach in North Carolina, and unfortunately, he's not well enough to attend the ceremony on Wednesday. He's one of 2 sports figures that'll be honored on Wednesday, the other being the Cubs great Ernie Banks, and Dean Smith being honored not just for obviously his accomplishments on the basketball floor and everything he did, but also for his role in the civil rights movement back in the 1960s. Obviously, he came from Kansas, came to North Carolina, and was outspoken in that part of the country about civil rights at that time. Len?
Well, absolutely. I think it's long overdue for Dean Smith. I mean, here's a man who did recognize, contributions of everyone, a part of the rainbow, and, never once let the opportunity to speak out against segregation pass him by. Bringing Charlie Scott into the ACC after Bill Jones from Maryland had integrated it, that's a tough move, but nevertheless, it was a statement.
Faust with the block, gets it back to Maryland. Smotrich with the good ball fake, and he hits. Maryland back within 3.
Now this is a man-to-man situation that Maryland's playing. I'm surprised that they're not going after Des Wells, because not only can they get him fouled out and take away a main opportunity for offense, but also, your best guy, your leader going out of the game with fouls is demoralizing. They're letting Des Wells high.
Nelson once again.
Well, he drove right there, and Wells was the help, and he just provided token help. So I guess that's the second best way.
Nelson and Collier with 50 of Oregon State's 78 points, 25 apiece. Smotrich moves inside the arc. Faust from behind the arc. Too strong. Wells can't slam down the putback, but Smotrich runs it down. Goes right at the Beavers. He'll go to the line.
Yeah, Wells took a risk on that attempted putback. They're going over the back of a Oregon State Beaver player.
So Angus Brandt fouls out. Coach Robinson will send out Schoftenar.
And this changes Oregon State a little bit. Brandt, even though he didn't score at the clip he had been prior to coming into this game, he was averaging about 13 points a game. He's a strong rebounder, averaged 8 rebounds a game in the last 2 games. You know, big body inside. Schoftenar more of a perimeter player. You know, Devon Collier is going to be asked to assume an even greater share of manning the paint on both ends for Oregon State.
Terps have struggled at the line tonight, but Smotrich, 3 of 5. Maryland now 10 of 19. Hits them both, so they're 11 of 20 from the arc in a one-possession game with 2:29 to play. Des Wells out there with 4 fouls, excuse me.
And right now, Mark Turgeon electing to match up from a size standpoint, going a little bit smaller than they had been. But you take a look right here, the matchups are good. That Des Wells on Schoftenar. Schoftenar really is the kind of guy who's going to shoot a jumper. He's not going to create a situation where he might be fouled.
Smotrich knocks it away. 19 to shoot for the Beavers. They have 4 timeouts left if they get in trouble on a few of these late possessions. Schoftenar goes and gets it. Backdoor cut, but they missed the layup. Collier. Oh, that's the kind of night it's been for Devon Collier.
Well, you talk about man in the paint, even on that missed layup. He took nothing for granted. Look at the turnover here.
Wells out of control. Robbins. Barton. Dangerous pass. Wells came back to pick it off. Numbers for the Terps. Give him a continuation on that one as Wells was going at the hoop.
I mean, tremendous play right here. Good pass by Schoftenar. The high post. The guy who inbounds it is usually the most dangerous guy. But Robbins misses that, but Collier, Johnny on the spot. And then they get it back, but they turn it over and give Maryland another opportunity to close within 1 possession.
Collier now with 27 points and 11 rebounds. He showed his career high that night against Purdue. That was in his hometown of New York City at the Garden. It's pretty memorable as well, back east in front of the President of the United States. Wells perfect from the line. 5 of 5. It's 6 for 6, and once again a one possession game.
And Des Wells with 19 points. His best output of the year thus far, and a lot of it has to do with Roddy Peters coming in, playing the point, taking the pressure off of Wells, allowing Wells to do what he does best, and that's put the ball in the basket.
I'm surprised Coach Robinson doesn't take any timeouts here to set up a possession to execute.
He's still got a possession to play with. You know, he doesn't want Maryland to be able to set up a defense right now, and you know where the ball's going. Look at this. Look at this.
Why call a timeout when you have that play?
You got it. You know the ball was going inside. That's originally how they wanted to attack Maryland, to go inside and go after him, believing that they were a bit shorthanded down low.
Big to big here, and a new career high for Collier.
You know, Oregon State believes they're big, and Collier particularly more mobile than the Maryland big. And right there, you see him getting bounced around and still able to put the ball up reverse layup.
Maryland able to score without time coming off the clock. Maryland's last 6 points coming from the line. Numbers. Nelson keeps it himself, and he'll go to the line.
And you know, that was a safe play. Nelson not afraid to take the contact, went straight to the basket. Even though it was a 3-on-1 break, but they didn't settle for a jump shot. He went straight to the hole. And again, this is what Oregon State worked on play after play after play yesterday in their practice, knowing that they would face pressure. And the passes made, particularly by Schaffenauer, are the passes that they made in practice. Get it as far up the floor as you possibly can to gain an advantage break.
Nelson, 8 for 10 from the line. 9 for 11. Just a reminder, if you're tuning in, looking to watch Boston College against Florida Atlantic, they've tipped it off up in Chestnut Hill. We will get you there as soon as we are finished here in Maryland, but a good one. Pac-12 against the ACC. We just saw AC Green. He has been into this game from the opening tip. Greg Robinson getting exactly what you hope for from your money men. Collier and Nelson.
He's going to now do a little defense, offense. And he's got Cook in the ball game to play some D against Des Wells, so he doesn't wear Nelson out. But you don't necessarily get tired if you're going to play Matador D.
So Nelson quickly back to the scores table. Programs. Under a minute to play. The Beavers in the double bonus. With 4 timeouts left, they break the press.
I mean, they've had no problems whatsoever with this type of pressure.
Collier has 29, Nelson with 27. This is Barton, 15 to shoot. Now Nelson. Mitchell trying to seal off Collier down low, under 10 to shoot.
No fouls now. You got to play solid D.
It's all on Nelson now. The pull up high and he hits.
My goodness.
Guts.
That's right. Ice water. Running through those days.
We have gone back and forth here the last 5 minutes, but Maryland turns it over. So Nelson with 29 will go to the line.
Take a look right here. Using the high screen, just a 2-dribble pull-up surrounded by white shirts. Nothing but bottom. And on the other end, Maryland misfires. You know, inability to execute down the stretch. That cost them the UConn game after a valiant attempt at coming back.
Nelson came in averaging 30. If he hits this free throw, he will have 30 here tonight.
It's both of these, it makes it a 3-possession ball game. It's hard to squeeze 3 possessions in 22 seconds. Didn't say impossible, it's just hard.
If he hits this, he will come out of the game.
He hit his season average. Jordan Nelson, first 2 games, 60 points. Now he's got 91 in 3 games.
He can sense it.
And he's for real. He is for real. And Pac-12 better be paying attention.
Under 20 for the Terps. They got to go quickly. Faust. Now Smatras gets a good look. And the Beavers come up with the rebound. It's Barton. So that should just about do it here for Oregon State. Lenny, we came on the air talking about obviously the first families here, but more importantly, this is a big win for whichever team could get it non-conference.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you what, when you listen to Oregon State practice yesterday, the mantra was, this is a business trip. We came here to take care of business. And take care of business they did. They executed well. Everything they did in practice, for the most part, they were able to do here in the game. And I'll tell you, I think Craig Robinson has reason to be optimistic, even without Eric Moreland, their supreme shot blocker and rebounder. He's got guys who fulfill roles, and he's got a star go-to-it guy in Roberto Nelson, who has been unbelievable in this game.
So Maryland gets the putback, but that will do it. So Craig Robinson and the Beavers come east in front of the First family, and once again, that's the recipe. They pick up another win in the Beltway. Oregon State wins it 90-83. Collier with a huge game. Nelson closed the door. Once again, the final score, Oregon State 90, Maryland 83. Coming up next on ESPNU, Florida Atlantic and Boston College. For Len Elmore and Andy Katz, I'm Eamon McEnany saying so long from College Park. Now let's go to Jason Benetti and Malcolm Huckabee in Chestnut Hill.